With most of the world's unexplored areas consisting of huge patches of jungle, there is clearly much the rainforests have to tell us. Many strange things have happened, can happen, and will happen under the cover of the jungle canvas. People can go missing. Societies exist without anyone knowing, and mysterious creatures and artifacts can go undetected for centuries at a time. Let's look at a few examples of just how weird the jungle can be in this list of the top 7 jungle mysteries. Number 7. The Missing Millionaire. Michael Clark Rockefeller was a member of one of the world's most powerful and influential families. Yet rather than a career in politics or finance like his father and grandfathers, what Michael dreamed of was adventure, an exploration of the last remaining places on Earth untouched by man. But sadly, it was this wanderlust which was to be his undoing. And he was to endure a gruesome fate even his rich-ass family couldn't save him from. In 1960, Rockefeller became enchanted by the Asmat tribe of Indonesia, and he traveled to the jungle to study them in 1961. However, during a pontoon boat trip with Dutch anthropologist Rennie Wassing, he got too close to the Asmat camp. The 2 men were thrown into the water, and Rockefeller was never seen again. Various conflicting stories have been told about what happened to the 25-year-old explorer. Some believe he drowned, died from exposure, or was eaten by a shark or saltwater crocodile. But the most gruesome theory, and the one with the most evidence, was that Michael Rockefeller was murdered, decapitated, and eaten by the Asmat people he was so intrigued by. A private investigator hired by the Rockefellers reportedly acquired 3 skulls of white men murdered by the tribe, one of them believed to be Michael's. And some Asmat tribesmen have been quoted as admitting the crime of their forefathers, describing how Michael was scalped, had his face cut open, his ribs broken with an axe, his sternum ripped out, his arms and legs cut off, and his guts ripped from what remained of his body. Ouch. Sounds like that's smart. Need more than a sticking plaster to sort that mess out. It is then claimed the tribesmen danced ritually while smeared in Rockefeller's blood before drinking each other's urine, having sex with each other, and giving the chief of the tribe oral pleasure to finish the ceremony? Wow. That's not how I want to go. So did the Rockefeller family have the skull DNA tested? Did they discover the grisly fate of their heir? If so, I can kind of understand why they kept it a secret. At 6, the lost city of giants. Many ancient myths and legends tell of giant humans who once roamed the earth, but could such a race of people actually have existed? And if so, has the dense canvas of the jungle kept these giant humans secret? Author and researcher Bruce Fenton certainly thinks so, after discovering what he called the lost city of giants deep within the Ecuadorian jungle. His team discovered a large pyramid, abandoned for thousands of years, which was constructed from huge 2-ton stone blocks. But whilst the pyramid itself is fascinating, it's the tools used to build it which have drawn Fenton's curiosity. Huge metal and stone tools were found scattered around the outskirts of the pyramid site. Tools of such great size that they would be impossible for a normal-sized man to wield. Most people indigenous to the area were slim and rarely grew beyond 5 feet tall. Yet these metal hammerheads look like something the Mountain off Game of Thrones might use to put up a spice rack. So if giant humans really did live in this area, what happened to them? Exactly how tall were they? And might some of them survived, moving deeper into the jungle? Number 5. The ancient Amazon rings. In the 1980s, a huge amount of deforestation took place across the Amazon rainforest because there's one thing humanity loves: shaving Mother Nature bare. But when the trees were removed and the forest floor was exposed, an interesting discovery was made. A series of ring-shaped ditches dug out of the earth right in the middle of the jungle. Confirmed as being man-made, Investigations revealed these ditches were dug a long time ago, way before the Amazon rainforest even existed. Most of the Amazon resembled a dusty African savanna 3,000 years ago, and it is believed these ditches were part of a settlement which, having been built on open land, was later enveloped by the jungle as the Amazon began to flourish. Who lived here remains a mystery, as does the intended purpose of these ditches. Defense, drainage, or ceremonial practices have all been suggested. But until we explore further, we cannot say for certain. Which leads us to our next entry. Number 4. The uncontacted people of the jungle. It is estimated the Amazon contains around 100 tribes humanity has yet to formally shake hands with. But as much of the jungle is unmapped and tough to traverse, this number is just an estimate and could be much higher. There are many other jungles around the world with similarly untouched tribes of indigenous people, such as the Ruks of Vietnam, the Yuki of Bolivia, and the Sentinelese mentioned in one of our previous videos. We only know these tribes exist thanks to aerial photography, and since they're often hostile and lack immunity to our diseases, we try to avoid contact with them. But what secrets do they hold? What do they know of Earth's history? What do they think of us? Do they like what we're wearing? Should we attempt to bring these people into our world? If you were part of these tribes, would you want to be contacted? Or should we just leave them alone to exist blissfully ignorant of the awful things humanity is capable of? Genocide, racism, Adam Sandler movies. In at 3, the Cambodian Jungle Girl. On January 13, 2007, this woman emerged from the Cambodian jungle covered in filth, marked with deep scars, and completely naked. And to this day, nobody knows who she is or where she came from. At first, a local family claimed she was their long-lost daughter, Rosham Nying, who disappeared age 9 in 1988 along with her sister. Yet, when DNA tests were arranged, the family mysteriously canceled them. The girl was determined to be a feral child who had grown up without human contact, but the presence of wrist and ankle scars pointed to a more sinister backstory, that she'd actually been the victim of kidnapping. Unfortunately, she can't tell us what happened to her, because the only words she knows are father, mother, and stomachache. In lieu of language, the girl points to mouth when hungry or thirsty and prefers to crawl around her home rather than walk. Sadly, she's adapted poorly to civilized life and repeatedly attempts to flee back to the jungle. At one point, she was found hiding chest deep in feces inside a 10-meter deep toilet pit. The girl is currently being taught how to adapt socially by a charity, yet still spends her nights sleeping in a chicken coop. But whether she really is Rosham Nying seems irrelevant now, because whilst we may never uncover her mysterious past, it seems her new family are taking care of her future as best they can. At 2, the Maracoxi. The Maracoxi is considered to be South America's answer to Bigfoot, and legend has it that more than one of these savage ape-like creatures roam the jungles of South America. These ferocious beasts have been seen on numerous occasions over several centuries by both South American tribespeople and Western explorers. British Army Colonel Percival Fawcett claimed to have encountered a 12-foot creature of similar description in the jungles of Brazil in 1914, describing the beast as aggressive, speaking only in grunts, and was frightened off by gunfire. But he also described them as intelligent, using bows and arrows as weapons, and living in complex village dwellings. This led many to speculate whether these creatures are merely an extremely hairy, undocumented human tribe. But as we've yet to capture one, we still can't be sure. Colonel Fawcett later disappeared in mysterious circumstances whilst on another jungle expedition in Brazil, searching for the lost city of El Dorado. So there's a lesson for any of our fans right there. Don't try and solve any of the mysteries in our videos, people, because giant hairy ape men will probably eat your bones. Number 1. The Disappearing Dutch Girls. Lisanne Froona and Chris Kremers, no relation to the Krispy Kreme empire, were two adventurous Dutch girls visiting Panama to study Spanish. But whilst taking a hike through the jungle near the town of Boquete, they mysteriously disappeared. And the next time anyone saw them was through a microscope, looking at their bone fragments. But whilst the exact circumstances of their disappearance is still a mystery, the girls did leave behind an eerie collection of photographs on a camera found in Lisanne Fruna's backpack. Many were taken only 2 hours before the girls made an emergency call for help. A call which never got through as they had no reception. And if that's not freaky enough, at least 90 more photos were taken a full 10 days after they disappeared, all of them at night, and none showing the girls alive. So were they murdered? Did the killer take these photos as a calling card? Not according to police, because after Chris Creamer's hiking boot was found with her foot still inside, police theorized that one of them had become injured and the second had injured herself trying to help her, leaving them both stranded in the jungle to be picked off by scavenging animals. If this is true, then the photographs may have been taken in darkness to illuminate the surrounding area using its flash, or to ward off jungle creatures. But with no further evidence to go off, we can only hope these two girls met a peaceful and quick death. Has this list put you off visiting the jungle? Are you too scared to even go see The Jungle Book at the movies? Then why not stay at home and instead watch one of our videos, like this one covering 7 secret undiscovered treasures. Some of them are reportedly hidden deep within the jungle. Would you risk your life for them?